just to, sometimes when we're on our screens and it just adds a little bit of noise to our nervous system. So if you can just take a moment to arrive. And I will be guiding this practice mostly via audio. So when we are experiencing somatic practice, the best way is to tune into your auditory sense, the way that you're listening rather than seeing. So I would urge you to turn away from your screens and just take a moment to arrive and just listen to my voice. You can also turn off your own videos if you like, or not. It really depends on how comfortable you feel. So the core part of the practice is to bring yourself into a space that takes care of you, to quieten the noise and just to come to your space. So as you arrive, wherever that may be, I want to share a couple of principles in SomaSensing and the way that we move. And the first is to tune into your body sensation. So we never give you correct body position to be in. And the reason for that is because your body sensation will follow the nature of your design. So the body is designed in a particular way to move. And when you are tuning into body sensation, which I will guide you to, the most important part of tuning into body sensation is to find what feels good. So that's the next principle, is to find what feels good. So listening and tuning in to body sensation, finding what feels good, and then trusting in that sensation to self-adjust. So you are free to self-adjust to find what feels comfortable. And that's the key to this practice. There's nothing more than that. So tuning into body sensation, find what feels comfortable, what feels good, and feel free to adjust, self-adjust, trust in your own inner wisdom. Okay, so wherever you are, as you've arrived, you may be in seated, you might even be lying down, you might be in standing, wherever that may be for you. Could you take a moment to check in with yourself and notice where you are right now? How comfortable is this position for you? So just noticing how comfortable are you in whatever way that you've arrived. And if you feel any twinge of discomfort, could you adjust yourself? Feel free to adjust your body to find what feels comfortable. That could be changing the position that you're sitting or standing in. It could be that you might be resting against something. So in this practice, you're always finding what feels least effortful. Everything should feel effortless. So let's begin by tuning into that. Just taking a moment, arriving, adjusting, connecting with yourself, connecting with your body sensation. And feel free to keep adjusting. So in this first practice, it's to guide you to your body sensation and to trust in whether it feels comfortable. There's no correct way to be. You're just listening, tuning in, and arriving. You may feel the urge to move. You may feel like, oh, I just need to get into a few places that are a little stiff or stuck. Feel free. Just find that freedom for yourself to begin with. Just notice how that lands for you. And then I'm going to get you all to come up into standing in the most effortless way possible. How do you come up to standing? If you're on the ground, you may roll up, you may, whatever that may be, just coming up to standing. If you can take a little walk around the space that you're in before you actually arrive in standing, taking a moment to stroll. And as you're taking the stroll, noticing where is your awareness? What are you paying attention to? And could you bring your awareness and attention to your body? And in the stroll, are there any areas of strain or discomfort? And could you soften the way that you walk so that there is less strain? And then as you arrive in standing, wherever that may be for you, in the space that you're in, could you arrive in a stance that feels most comfortable for you? If it doesn't, you can change the position of your feet. You might even notice that the body wants to sway a little. So just as you arrive in standing, how can you find a way to be in your body that's most comfortable? And feel free to change the position of your feet. If you find a stance that's narrow, how does that feel compared to a stance that's wider? So play with your own sensation, your own curiosity. How does it feel when my feet are together? How does it feel when it's wider? And which one feels most comfortable? Just noticing that. And then to imagine that your body is filled with a gel, like jelly. So if you imagine that our body is just a gel, this container filled with the gel. And how stiff is that gel within your body? So just noticing and imagining that your body is a container of gel. How stiff is that gel? Just notice. I'm going to take you into a little practice called a body bounce. So if you were to add a little bounce at your knees to soften the tissue in your body, so if you were to soften this gel and just add a little bounce at your knees, as if your knees have little springs. And could you make it a quiet bounce, just a quiet, gentle body bounce? And what you're bouncing out is this gel within your body. So like jelly, if you were to add a little bounce, where do you notice that the jelly is a little stiff or not? Often it may be in your neck and shoulders, or it might be in your lower back. So as you're tuning into body sensation, how do you take care of the strain in your body just by this little gentle body bounce? Quiet, soft, and the purpose of the practice is to soften any areas of strain that might have been stuck in your body. So the soft body bounce is really great for releasing any areas of stiffness or strain. It may not release straight away, and that's okay. Just to go to a place in the bounce. How do you tune in? How does this take care of you or not? If it doesn't, how could you adjust your own body? You can pause at any time and pause at any moment. And as you pause to come out of that bounce, just noticing what happens in your body. Could you add a little sway, a rocking motion from side to side. So just in that side to side motion, how are you tuning in to the gel of this body? So if your body would just gel, how can you be in this rocking motion with the softness in your body? As if you were rocking a newborn baby. So just gentle, soothing rocking motion. And then could you go back to the body bounce to explore how that feels once more? So soft body bounce. And this time, can you pay attention to whether your head is moving freely on the neck when you bounce? So in the soft body bounce, does the head respond, or does the head stay stuck on the neck as you're bouncing? And how quietly could you bounce and let go of any strain? So this kind of letting go sensation where the body is just jelly. You can let your head go and just notice if there's a difference when that happens. So this is your body sensation. You can explore, you can notice, how do you nurture yourself? How do you nourish yourself? So just adding that body bounce. And the next time you come out of the bounce, as you come out of it, could you add this pandiculation, a body yawn, like you've just woken up for the first time today, and you just want to unwind. So pandiculation is one of the SomaSensing blueprints, just that unwinding motion. How does that happen for you? Just notice that. Can your body unwind? And when you do go into this urge, if you don't feel the urge, it's okay. You can come back to the body bounce and then find this, oh, I've just woken up for the first time today. And even if it's just spontaneous, you know, noticing where that urge to unwind begins. And can you get into those areas with this motion, this unwinding motion? Could you get into those areas that feel a little stiff or strained? Notice if you can, notice what moves, what doesn't move. And when you come out of it, you can just come back to a gentle sway. Just finding this gentle sway, noticing, is there a difference in your body? Has there been any areas that have softened a little more? So the practice of being in a soft body, not having to hold anything, letting go completely, giving yourself space. So this next practice when you're moving is to find, where do you need more space? So in this rocking motion, can you keep tuning into your body and finding areas that strain, that need softening? And when you soften, you'll find you have more space. Okay, so just finding that. And in these few practices that I've given you, the soft body bounce, the pandiculation, could you explore that for a few moments just on your own? Just on your own. So without thinking, am I doing this right? What am I meant to go here? Let go of any of that and just come to your body, go back to the bounce, find what it feels like. And often when you go to a body bounce, the purpose of the practice is to release any stiffness or strain, so that when you do come out of it, you're going to have this urge to unwind. If you don't feel that urge, it means that you still have areas of stiffness in the body. It means that the fascia is not communicating. It's okay if it doesn't come up spontaneously, just to keep noticing what happens. And notice that after you find this unwinding motion, oh, the body starts to sway. Or not. Often it does. And then to just let go of that wherever you are in the moment, and to find quiet. So noticing that when you come, bring the body to quiet, You can take another little stroll around the space. Just taking another stroll around the room. And this time, as you're taking the stroll, just imagine that you've dropped something on the ground that you need to pick up off the floor. So can you pause every now and again to go, ooh, I just need to pick this up off the ground, whether it's, just imagine you've dropped your keys, you need to pick it up off the ground. And when you do that, notice whether your body takes a breath in or a breath out. So as you're strolling to pick something up off the ground, does your body take a breath in or out? And then to just take a moment to pause and let go of that. You can come into standing once more, just resting in standing. And then to the next time you take a wander round, when you pick something up off the ground, can your body take an expanding breath in? So you can continue with this practice. So the next time you pick something up off the floor, imagine your body's like a balloon and the breath comes into your body. So if you were exhaling before, could you take a breath in? Does the breath arrive? It actually, your body takes the breath in if you allow it to. So that sensation of expansion as you pick something up off the ground. Just to notice that. And then to come out of that, to let go of that. And in that practice, the body expansion holds everything in place when you pick something up off the ground. Is just to come back to where you are, is to come back to where you are and resting there for a moment. Okay, trusting in your body sensation. So in this next practice, we're going to come to the ground. And the way to come to the ground, so you've gone to pick something up off the ground, you're going to come to the ground as if you're going to pick something up off the floor. So you can take a stroll around if you like. And as you pause to pick something up off the ground, could you stay there with your knees bent in whatever position that arrives? So you might find that your body changes position. You might find yourself in a side squat. When you pick something up off the ground, your knees are bent. They don't need to be lengthened, right? You don't need to lengthen your body in any way. So just pausing. And as you come to squat on the ground, could you come into a position either in sitting? So I'm going to guide you here. So as you've come, you pick something up off the ground, you could come into the side sitting position. So could you find this? And if not, you can come into a seated position in a way that's comfortable for you. So just to explore where you are here, and from here, you could come down into a seated position here. So if we can all come into this side sitting position. Okay, in the same way that you found ease in standing, so finding ease in standing, could you find ease in seated? And the best way is to rest your hand behind you and allow yourself to hang out as if you're sitting at the beach and you're not having to sit upright in any way. So just hanging out so that your shoulder can release. You're in a shoulder shrugging position here. So just allow yourself to be here, hang out. And in this releasing sensation, you should feel ease in your lower back too. So finding this place of rest. And in this place of rest, your entire body moves. The whole fabric of your tissue moves, your fascia moves. So let's explore what happens when you find a motion. Okay, so to initiate movement here, you can reach this thigh bone forwards and come back. So you can reach the thigh bone forwards and then release. Or you can send the floor away with your hand. You could just find a motion of sending the floor away with your hand. So if you're struggling to find this motion, check in with yourself. Are you sitting with both buttocks on the ground, or can you lift the back sit bone off the ground so that you're just resting on one side, hanging out? Okay, so let's explore this motion again. It's a spiral motion, and as you move, notice how the breath comes into the body. Notice how your body takes an in-breath and then a sigh as you come back. So let's explore this expanding sensation as the breath arrives, and then the sigh, a letting go sensation. So could you continue with this practice of spiraling in the spiral motion, how the body takes a breath in, and then there's a letting go and a sighing sensation. And in this expansion, it doesn't matter if you don't go too far, or it's your body, your inner rhythm, you're following your own inner rhythm. And then take a rest for a moment, just taking a break. Could you hold on to the outer edge of your foot like this? And could you bring that foot across? And as you bring your foot across, notice how the body takes a breath in. Okay, so it's spontaneous. The body takes a breath in and then a release. So we find expand and release. And you can let go of that at any time. Okay, so you've got two options here. You've got the option to swap sides. Now, I'm going to invite you to, instead of just moving the leg over to the other side, is to send the floor away from you. So you've got this rocking motion here. So you're just rocking. And to find this motion is not as effortful as you would imagine. So if you get stuck at any point, just come to a pause and rest. And when you want to initiate movement, find the ground with your hand. And all you're doing is sending the floor away with your hand. And as you send the floor away, you'll find this rocking motion. And in this rocking motion, can you take care of your lower back? Can you find a soothing sensation for your lower back? If not, you can always come back to the ground. If you want to swap sides here, you can, or you can send the floor away and spiral over to the other side. So you've ended up on the other side. Okay, so if you get lost in that motion, don't worry about it. You could always just swap sides. Okay, but if you're curious about how you can move the floor away over to the opposite side, the body can move in a spiral. Okay, so could you explore on this side the same motion that you did on the opposite side, starting with just hanging out? You're hanging out at the beach. There's no strain in your body. And remembering to keep that sit bone, the back sit bone, just off the ground and find your motion. Just find the spiral motion. Just letting the breath arrive. And as you're reaching that thigh bone forwards, the rest of the body will respond. So if you've got any areas of strain in your body, this spiral motion will unwind those areas. So this is unwinding in seated. Just letting that pattern from your body emerge. You can take a break at any time. You could explore this motion of bringing the foot across. So you don't have to follow me. You can practice on your own. So I'm going to leave you to practice that for a moment. And in this practice, what you want to pay attention to is how the breath arrives, finding that expanding sensation, and then the sigh as you come back. So we call that expanding breath that comes in, that pandiculation sensation, is an expansion. It's like a body yawn. It's as if your whole body's yawning. Okay, so that's what you want to explore. And as you come back, let's just make sure you have a mat. I'm often off my mat, so you can find a place where you're close to a mat. So in this position, when you've come to seated, another pattern will emerge. Your body can take you in so many different places. You can send the floor away. So remember this one. In this motion, one of the movements that arrives in intuitive motion is a rocking movement. Rocking motions are really great for soothing areas of strain in the body. So just a rocking motion. Another motion that may arrive is a slightly bigger motion. So you can play here. You can explore what feels good here. Where do I need to go from here? If you feel that it's uncomfortable, let your body adjust to what feels comfortable for you. Never work through anything that's strenuous. You never want to try and match what I'm doing, but to find, does this take care of me? Does it feel good? If it doesn't, take a moment to pause. And in seated, now that you're in seated, let's explore a shoulder shrug here. So you did a hanging out motion here. So when we come into seated and you're here, can you take your hands behind you and allow your whole body to let go? So here you are again, sitting at the beach, and you just want to let go. And the reason that we release here is you really want that connective tissue to soften. So a shoulder shrug is a softening motion. And can you pause here? Just rest without having to do anything. And as you find this place of rest within your body, you may find that the body starts to unwind. If it doesn't, it's okay. And it might be a small unwinding motion, it might be a bigger motion, but I'm not moving my body. My body is moving itself. And if you want your body to move itself, you want to bring your body to rest. Just to hang out, to rest, and then the motion begins. If it doesn't begin, it just means that your body needs to release somewhere for a motion to arrive. It might be a small motion. It may not be as big a motion as is happening in my body. It might be, sometimes a little coaxing motion like this happens. So if you can bring your body to rest and then find this. And at any time, if you're feeling any strain, just pause. Shift your body, let it come into a different position. Okay, so after a little bit of unwinding, this is a really great unwinding motion in seated. You could let that go at any time. And the next pattern would be either here or somewhere else. So I'm just guiding you today to bring your hands over the balls of your feet there, and just let your head rest. Now, to initiate movement here, can you move your feet towards the ground? And notice how your body takes a breath in. There's your body yawn, your expansion. And then a sigh. So could you explore this a few times? Just letting your feet come towards the ground, and then a releasing sensation. So you can change the motion to a slightly quicker motion. A quicker motion would just allow the tissue to glide. So a releasing motion here, it can be a quicker motion, or it could be a quieter motion, a slower motion. So just noticing that for yourself between quick and slow, and how, and really the purpose of this practice is to hydrate your connective tissue. So there's often stiffness in your lower spine and in the neck and shoulders. We're moving the entire fascial fabric. When you're moving, everything moves, everything from the inside out. Okay, from the inside out. You can take a moment to rest, and let's come into a side sitting position here, or not so much side sitting. So from here, you can fold your front leg in and just allow yourself to roll, rolling over. Now, if you're here, your body will take you to where it feels comfortable. If you find that you need to be higher here, that's also fine. If you find that the leg position needs to be different, that's also fine. The key, or the guideline, is to follow where your body moves from here, and it will roll. So you could rest your elbows on the ground and just rock from side to side. You can rest your head on the ground and rock from side to side. So just finding this rocking, soothing motion. You can uncurl your back foot. Okay, so explore, just to be curious about what happens here. You can uncurl that back foot. And if you're rocking, you're getting to areas in your outer thigh, your lower back. Remember, everything moves. So this rocking motion will get into your lower spine, to the tissue around your lower back, and also to your outer thigh, even to the front of the opposite leg. So everything moves. We're never isolating one particular area. We're just shape changing and allowing the whole body to move in the way it's designed. Okay, so take a moment to pause. You can curl your foot under and just rock back and forth. So you've rocked from side to side. You can rock back and forth. Find what takes care of you here. Really listen to your body. If you feel any strain, adjust yourself. How do you give yourself the freedom to find what feels good? Okay, you can adjust, you can rock, and you can rest for a moment, just resting for a moment. You can come back up and swap sides. I'm going to give you another option. You could either rest, or you can press this back foot into the floor. So hands, back foot, and swap sides this way, or you can roll and swap this way, whichever feels good for you, and then continue on this side as you did on the opposite side. And I'm going to leave you to find your way. So continuing with that practice, finding what feels good, nourishing, nurturing. If it feels uncomfortable, pull back. Really trust in your own body sensation. So really trust in, if I'm here, how does it feel? You can change the position of your foot. You can either rock with your back foot curled under or resting on the ground. Just explore both ways, finding ease, finding nurturing, just letting those sighing breaths arrive, and then resting wherever you land, just resting, finding what feels good. And often a pattern that comes up is in seated is where your front leg comes in. That's just the way the body's designed to move, right? So just a little check-in with yourself. Notice how your body's feeling now. And we're going to come to the ground. So come and lie on your back, just resting on your back on the ground. Okay, so I'm going to guide you without showing you to begin with. So I'm just going to guide you. So for this session on the ground, you won't need to see me, you won't need to follow what I'm doing, but to explore your own body sensation. So when you come to the ground, allowing your body to rest, just letting your arms land where they land, just bringing everything to quiet, just taking a moment to arrive in your body, and just letting everything come to quiet. So it might be that you've unfolded your legs are lengthened, or it might be that your knees are bent and you're resting your feet on the ground. Either way is fine for now. It's just to arrive in a way that takes care of you. And then to notice as you're resting, whether your body feels like it needs to adjust a little, it needs to wiggle a little or shift. So you come to rest and then allow the body to adjust. There might be little adjustments. Just let that happen as it happens. And then if your legs were lengthened, could you bend your knees so that your feet are resting on the ground? Just coming to have your feet resting on the ground. And as you're resting, just noticing if there's any areas of strain, any areas of discomfort. Give yourself the freedom to shuffle around, move around, laying on your back with your knees bent. And then notice, how close are your feet towards you? And could they be in a position that gives you more ease in your body? Just coming to that. And in this position, do you find that your pelvis starts to rock? Just notice that. Does your pelvis start to rock from side to side as you're lying on the ground? If not, you might take your feet a little further away and waiting for this pelvic rock to arrive. If it doesn't, you can begin to rock your pelvis, just a gentle rocking from side to side. And as your pelvis begins to rock from side to side, can you notice whether your shoulders respond, whether your head responds? Just noticing. And in this rocking motion, it may be that your legs go all the way to the ground. So from rocking of your pelvis, you find that your knees are dropping from side to side, just allowing that to happen, but noticing whether your shoulders or your head are involved, or does your pelvis move independently of the rest of your body? So it's just an exploration to begin with. So when I move my pelvis, how does the rest of the body respond? Just noticing that. How does the breath respond? So allowing whatever happens to happen, and the purpose of guiding you this way is so that you are paying attention to what's happening for you in the moment. When you move, what happens? Are there any areas of strain or discomfort in your body? Just noticing that. And then to let that go for a moment and to come back to where you were, just resting on the ground with your knees bent, just to rest there for a moment. So the next time you come into this practice, the next time you drop your knees to the side, can you notice where the body takes a breath in or a breath out? So this practice on the ground, we're going to explore unwinding on the ground. As you're dropping your knees from side to side, does the body take a breath in or out? And can you find that body yawn sensation as you're practicing this unwinding on the ground? So do the shoulders start to unwind as your knees drop from side to side? So finding that unwinding motion in your body. If you're dropping to one side, ooh, can you get into the area of your neck and shoulders? So finding this unwinding motion and this body yawn sensation. And then a sigh. So could you find those expanding body yawn sensations in your body? So as you're rocking, as you're unwinding, noticing as you continue, where does your body take you in that unwinding motion? So remembering to tune in and to find what feels good for you. Find the freedom in your motion, noticing how the breath arrives, finding those yawning and sighing sensations of your whole body as you nourish, as you nurture, as you take care of yourself just in that one pattern, just being guided in that one motion. See where your body takes you. And what you may find is you may have just started with a rocking motion, and as your fascia begins to unwind, it may take you to swing, or it might take you to a spiral. It might even take you back up into side sitting. So just continuing with your practice. And then rest at any time, just resting. So being on the ground and finding unwinding motions is just the best way to explore intuitive motion, just from that one pattern. Okay, so if you can come back to rest wherever you are, I may guide you to a slightly different way to come to unwinding. So that's one option. The other is to come back to this resting position on the ground. And before we go into unwinding, I want to guide you to a practice that we call the skin glide. So it's similar to the body bounce in improving the way the tissue becomes unstuck. So with your feet on the ground, it's a simple motion of sending the floor away with your feet and letting the whole body move. So we call this motion a skin glide. And it's a simple sending the ground away. The movement starts with your feet and the whole body responds. Your arms can be wherever they feel comfortable. They can be above your head. They can be by the side. Just finding the skin gliding motion. It can be quick. It can be quiet and slow. So really getting into the areas that feel a little stiff and stuck. So you could explore skin gliding to release any areas of strain in the neck and shoulders, in your lower back. It's a wonderful motion. And if your feet are very close to you, it's going to be difficult to skin glide. So could you take your feet a little further away and let your whole body move from your feet all the way to your head, just with one gentle motion. Doesn't take any effort. Okay, and you may find that your pelvis starts to rock. I want to guide you to a practice of unwinding that's a little different to the one we did before. So if you can rest here for a moment, and can you drop one knee all the way out to the side? So if both knees are bent, both knees pointed up to the ceiling, just drop one out to the side. And you're going to initiate movement just by standing into the ground with your opposite foot and letting the whole body spiral. And then you come back. Okay, so can you explore this unwinding motion? Could you simply stand into the ground and let your body unwind? And once you have the pattern, you could explore unwinding on both sides. So if you can continue with your practice, unwinding on both sides, that's just another pattern that takes you into that motion. It's letting everything follow. Always find what feels good and continue to nourish and nurture as you continue with your practice. Just taking this moment with yourself, exploring, finding where are those areas of strain. And you can always pause in that practice. You can always pause. You might find that it takes you into another motion. So let's explore how you can go from unwinding. So you might be moving to one side, to your side, to seated, to on your knees. If you can't be on your knees, you can put a cushion or take the weight off. And in this last session, I'm going to get you to explore curling your toes under and just bouncing back. Just a gentle bounce back. If you have any stiffness in your feet and this is too painful for you, you can let go of this. Okay, so you could explore coming into this position if bouncing back on your feet is just uncomfortable. If you have stiff ankles and toes, then it may not be great for you to be here. So come to where it feels good for you. So this position is really great for releasing any strain in your lower back. And then to just let go of that and find a position that feels comfortable for you here. Your vagus nerve and that awakening of everything within your body just restores the energy and the vitality in your connective tissue. Okay, so let's explore a couple of ways to find pandiculation. We've done a few of them. One was in seated, right? So when you move your feet, your body takes a breath in, it expands. And we're moving away from pulling everything in, this idea that you need to engage the core. You don't. Your core is not the separate thing in your body that you need to activate or train. And in fact, if you start pulling things in, it's going to affect the nervous system. You're going to put your body into a survival state. So instead, you want to come to the blueprints of your body. So pandiculation can happen this way. One of the best ways on the ground is to send the floor away. So if you are in seated like this, you're moving the floor away. When you move the floor away, your body takes a breath in. That is a pandiculation sensation, right? So there's a yawn, and then a sigh. So that pandiculation forms the blueprint of the entire SomaSensing practice. When babies begin to move, so babies don't learn to move. We're born with blueprints in our bodies. When they begin to move, it's important for babies to be on the ground, because it's from this lying down position that your foot sends the floor away. So when babies move and they turn, they're finding the ground, pressing into the floor, and the whole body moves. It's those patterns that we want to find, because that's where the pandiculation response happens. So when you send the floor away, you can send the floor away with your hands. You can use your hands to rest on the ground, and you'll find these unwinding motions, right? If you want to practice pandiculation on the ground, you can start in side sitting. You can also take your hands forward. So if you want to practice this next one with me, hands in front of you, and if you can send the floor away, how can you send the floor away and get right here into your lower back? So this pandiculation sensation, like a full body yawn, sending the floor away, gets right here into your lower spine. If you take your hands too far away, you won't get that experience. It's difficult to send the ground away. So it's just here. You can send the floor away. You can take one arm across, other arm across. So that's pandiculation with a push sensation, okay? And this is pandiculation with a pull sensation. So when we come to do the guidance in this, so this was just a taster of some of the movements that come up in SomaSensing, right?